let's talk about drivers of negotiation. So when it comes to drivers of sales and drivers of negotiations, there are a few different things. There are reasons for negotiations, and these are essentially underlying psychological factors. So these are different drivers in negotiations that you should be aware of as a buyer, but especially as a seller, especially if you're a sales professional, especially if you own your own business as an entrepreneur. These are different drivers of negotiations that you should be aware of. So number one is competitive drive. So competitive drive, what it does is it essentially creates win-lose scenarios. So this is the drive to compete in a negotiation scenario, the drive to get the upper hand on the other party. This is often seen in car dealerships. So number one is competitive drive. This is really a win-lose scenario would look like. And you should be aware of this in negotiations and see if your buyer or your prospect is trying to create that scenario. Number two is solution-oriented drive. Solution-oriented drive is self-explanatory. You're looking for a win-win scenario here. And this is communicated both ways. So you should be aware of what your buyers and prospects are doing and saying to see if they're looking for a solution-oriented drive or a competitive drive, or if they have a solution-oriented drive or a competitive drive. And at the same time, you should be aware of that for yourself. So that's number two. Number three is personal drive. Personal drive is anything personal in terms of personal gains that drives you or drives your buyer. So monetary gains, credibility in the eyes of others. So you could be in a business meeting, in a board meeting, and before you walk in the room, an executive could tell one of their managers, watch this, I'm going to get this deal. I'm going to get us a good deal. I'm going to negotiate with this guy. Now that's a personal drive for credibility. He's going to try to do whatever he can. A lot of times that deal might get a lot harder for you because that person you're talking to is driven by that personal drive. Going back to the car industry as an easy example, if a guy brings their son in to buy a car and he says, don't worry, son, I've been negotiating for a long time. I've bought 10 cars myself. Let me negotiate. I'm going to get us a good deal. Now he has to prove himself right. So now he's operating off of a personal drive. Number four is organizational drive. Organizational drive is basically when multiple parties are involved, and this needs to make sense to everybody. So you got to know when, especially at higher level deals or bigger deals or business to business kind of deals, it may be organizational drive. So you got to know what the drive is of your prospect or your buyer. And number five is emotional drive. Emotional drive is essentially emotions that dictate actions or dictate decisions, right? So a lot of times people will make decisions emotionally, whether it's a yes or a no to buy your product or service. A lot of times their actions will be dictated by their emotions. And as an example, very simple, high-level example, if a buyer genuinely likes you, they may be more likely to do business with you. That's more based on emotion than pragmatism, for example. It's not based on the facts, the features, the benefits, whatever. It's more based on emotion. You know what? I've been, going to a couple of competitors. I like this person. I want to do business with them. So those are the 5 drivers of negotiations. And at high level negotiations or in high level sales scenarios, you want to be aware of all these different drivers. So I'll go over them very quickly again. Number 1 was competitive drive. Number 2 was solution-oriented drive. Number 3 was personal drive. Number 4 was organizational drive. Number 5 was emotional drive.